online, right? There's
Yes,
no part which is covered, right? Okay.
No, it's coming.
Very good. Thank you.
Okay, I think we will start our last session of this FTP. I would like to call upon Kailas to introduce the speaker. Kailas, please.
Screen. Next session is taken by Mr. Jayasurya V. Chandrasekharan, Principal Consultant, CTK Infrastructure Private Limited, Kochi, who gonna take a session on business perspective from blockchain implementation project. He is digitalization consultant and process specialized in insurance domain. He held a master's of business administration with specialized in property and consultant in insurance from National Insurance Academy, Pune. Executive postgraduate in management from Indian Institute of Management, Kozhikode. It's my pleasure to welcome you, sir, to the platform. Sir, please.
Okay, thank you, Kailash, for that introduction. The topic that was suggested for me to take during the session is on business perspectives from blockchain implementation projects. So the reason being that I was involved very closely with some blockchain implementation projects and was acting as a consultant, bridging the gap between some of the clients and the technology people, providers, and while bridging the gap, there were certain issues that used to come up because most of the time what happens is that you have a problem that come up, and there is a group of people who will sit together to find a solution for it, and the technologies that are prevalent during that time is put together and asked. There are questions being asked as to which technology will work best, and most of the time, I'm talking about some couple of years back, 2017, 2018, when many of these names were like on the height of the hype cycle. So blockchain was one of the technologies was on the top of the hype cycle during that period. So one trend that was doing the rounds those days were can we apply blockchain to that particular business problem, irrespective of what the problem may be. So because it is thought that blockchain will solve all the problems that you can imagine in the world, because of the reason that there is a trail. Say in 1980s, it was thought about internet in that way, right? When computers get networked, and you will have a very shrinked world at some point of time, and people started thinking that e-commerce will become easier, distribution of things will become easier, communication will become easier because the computers are networked, and you can do all this transaction over networks of computers which are interconnected. So, and internet became real over a period of time. By 2020, now you can see e-commerce happening through internet. You can see Uber working. You can call a cab and go to the nearest places where you want to go. You can see movies on Netflix or Amazon Prime or anything. You can select the movie that you want to watch and then enjoy it online. Through YouTube, you can see whatever kind of videos that are there in any particular subject. You can create videos and distribute it to the world. You can create a channel, start a channel, and show it to the world, right? So, and so all that changed, and now there is this buzzword which is promising that 20 years from then, you're going to change everything. There is going to be much more changes, and the internet technologies that have come up till that time is kind of a platform for for getting to that next stage. So it is the next leap, and people started putting money on that, right? And yeah, so every technology, if you look at it, right, there is a period when it has to build up. The background has to be built up, and then it has to come to the stage where it starts giving results to the people, right, to users of that technology. And then use cases start getting developed as to uh, how it can help a particular group of users or a target customers, and how this technology is going to change their lives. And when people, mostly startups, right, mostly startups or companies, small companies which are thinking about particular solutions for particular problems, and big companies providing platform for that, right? And then these solutions keep happening, and then there's a bigger level of platforms being built which serve the requirements of communities, right? So that was being built, and people thought, yeah, this is the next level that you will reach, where everything that you were doing, every laws of the game, every business game that was being played over a period of time is going to change, right? So things are happening, right? That is why there is so much enthusiasm, not just on the height of the hype cycle in 2017, 2018, but then things are being built, and there is a lot of research that is going on, like say in Kerala itself, Kerala Blockchain Academy doing a lot of work on that, and there are many other institutions that are doing work. There are engineering colleges who have divisions within their department, computer science or IT department, which is specializing in blockchain, doing projects for various things, having incubators within them that are addressing specific problems, right? So all these things are happening, and they're hoping that at one point of time there will be adoption, a larger range of adoption, and because of which many more businesses will be spawned, and you'll see a kind of a change in trend with respect to what internet had left till that point of time. So that is the actual context where we are coming from. So when you look at businesses, projects that you want to do, and what solutions you are giving to business for with technology as the offering, how do you look at it? What are the perspectives that we have? I'm not saying that I have all the perspectives, but then what I felt when I got involved in multiple projects is what I wanted to share with you, and that may be of great, I mean, some help to you is what I'm hoping. So when internet was kind of solving problems, there were mainly I mean, four different things that it was trying to solve, right? I mean, as I was saying, there was this communication problem. That means internet made the world a smaller place. You can now send emails or WhatsApp right now, right? Every moment you're sending WhatsApp chats across so that you're connected with the world. You are distributing things around the world through Amazon. You can order something and it comes to your doorsteps. I mean, particularly at the time of Corona, right? I mean, people could not go out of their houses, and there are more and more internet companies who were getting a lot of business with respect to supplying things to the houses, and groceries and vegetables, all distributed through the internet companies, intermediaries, which will distribute it to your doorstep. And then there is some information need. You can get whatever information you want at the doorsteps. So I mean, what I'm trying to say is that internet solved many problems and created a bigger problem, is what I was getting to. Because what you see is that there are a lot of larger intermediaries that are there. You started depending on these bigger intermediaries like Uber or Amazon, or these bigger intermediaries started taking the forefront in the businesses that came upon, right? And then there became a gap for what could be the next level of business or next level of solution that can happen in the future, right? And maybe in the last 4 or 5 days, you would have seen what blockchain does bring about to this new world, the internet world. Uh, is something which is very innate to human, a feeling or kind of a emotion that is very innate to human, which is replacing, right? Like when you're doing business with somebody, right? We have to have that feeling with that somebody to do that business. When you're partnering in a business, we need to have that feeling to that person to go on with the business, right? The feeling of trust, right? So that is what blockchain is kind of bringing to the forefront and making it something that can be run through networks and systems. So when that is done, then what is going to happen is that all these bigger intermediaries that are created by internet will have a lesser role. I mean, increasingly and progressively will have lesser role, and there will be more transparency with respect to transactions that will happen. Say, for instance, uh, sending money, right? Banks are the trusted way of sending money for people, because you put in your deposit in a bank, right? You take loans from a bank, and you trust that your money is safe there. And because bank is an intermediary, and we have seen many times, right, where banks are going wrong because they have given money to the wrong person, and they create a lot of non-performing assets because they didn't plan it well. They didn't look through the credentials of people whom they are giving money. And so the trust factor get affected because of that, right? So then progressively these gaps which require you to have this particular thing called trust to be uh, enabled in a much more democratic way became a necessity. And that is where blockchain and the technologies of having a distributed way of people coming together and doing business, right, is getting so much of attention. So with that context, I would like to look at uh, the agenda, set the agenda for this particular session. And I'm looking at three perspectives. That's it. One is when you are looking at a project, and I would like to explain it with a case or a project that I've come across, I've been part of, and explain to you how it is important to have that perspective and how to look at it, right? So first of all is force fitting technology, and this comes all the time, right? And because you are in a world where you have to present your project or an idea to a group of people who are going to fund you, right? And if those people have to get enthusiastic about your problem, your solution for an idea, you have to make them give things, show things which give that kind of enthusiasm. And technology and the next level of technology is one way of doing that, right? And blockchain was being that buzzword for quite a long time. It became fashionable to put that word out there and attract people to it, and sometimes slip them away from the outcome that they want to achieve, which is more or less, from an investor point of view, is getting money, right? You're investing money, you need to make money out of it. So that sometimes get camouflaged when you say that, oh, this technology is going to make it great, while you may not even know that this kind of a problem can be solved by blockchain itself, right? And that's one perspective which I wanted to bring to fore using one of the cases that I have. Second is a perspective of clarity of requirements, and this holds good for any kind of project. If you look at it, right, you need to have the clarity of requirements. But then if you have blockchain in it, right, and if you don't think through the problem in its entirety, because you need to have why, that idea as to why you're applying blockchain. Is it because there is a consensus needed between multiple parties, right? Say it's a financial institution, right, and you have multiple financial institutions which are equal parties to do a business, and if you need to arrange them in such a way that you have a 51-49 consensus that has to be arrived at, right, while you're putting it together, then you have to achieve it. So whether the clarity of requirements part is something that you are looking at, and you need to achieve, you need to think through, and in a blockchain kind of scenario, you have to really do that before the project itself. Sometimes in other projects, you have the luxury of seeing that, okay, if something doesn't work, we'll get to another method, or so on, right? Because right now the developers who are doing that are also blessed, and you'll have to find the people who are aware of how it is done. Then you have to partner people. There is a lot of work that is involved, and resource and money is involved in it, for which you need that planning. So that is the second perspective that I wanted to bring to fore. And third perspective is about the outcome based approach, where you need to have a clarity on that outcome that you're trying to achieve. And in that particular case, for instance, it is the outcome that was important more than anything else. How you do it was not important at all. And even if you apply any particular technology or not, was not even important. And so that is another way of looking at it, which I wanted to talk about. Right. So with that context and agenda, let me look at some of the things that we used to talk about in the time that led to 2020, right? So I'm talking about sometime in 2018, 2019, LinkedIn Learning brought this kind of a assessment, which said what are the top 5 soft skills and hard skills that are needed. And the blockchain was one of the top 10 hard skills that was required. And many people started looking at projects in their colleges and institutions before they even apply for a job. And there are many people who are looking for what are the problems that they want to solve, like small projects. Look at this technology, apply Ethereum or Hyperledger Fabric or EOS or any of this technology, and say that, okay, I solved this problem as a project and used a high-end blockchain technology for it. So this was happening, and in 2020, all this corona-related restrictions happened, and there were some kind of changes that happened. So some of the questions that used to come to me was with respect to how this is going to change, right? And the one question is, why do you believe that blockchain is going to revolutionize the way we do business? So you would have discussed this, right? That blockchain coming in, internet is already there, and there is this higher amount of trust factor that is brought in. So what is blockchain doing in this space, right? It is actually replacing trust with mathematics. So you have a node, you have something which says that your previous node was this, your next node is this. If somebody tries to tamper a record, right, then everything goes wrong, right? So you have a way of looking at provenance, what happened before this, what happened before that. There's a way of establishing trust in the system itself. So that way of looking at it made this entire I mean, that's why people believe that this is going to revolutionize the way we do business, especially when it is kind of scenarios where fraud is possible. Say transaction of money, one people transacting money, if it is recorded, all these transactions are recorded, and if tampering of any sort happens in between and it is pointed out, there's a red flag that is raised at that point of time, right? You get to know, because nobody can find the hash that has been generated by a computer system. There are numbers that are generated, and nobody can have that kind of a resource to find out, okay, what algorithm generated that particular hash. And so it becomes from a cryptography point of view, this is a great achievement, saying that nobody is tampering with the data that you have in the system itself. So so the kind of use cases that started emerging was wherever there is a chance of tampering with the data. And there are many use cases that came up. So these are the nails that started. It's a subset of a big set of use cases that started emerging. And one of the areas which I was so much interested was the agriculture sector, right, where you had this option of sharing of farm equipments and organic food distribution. This is a big project that was happening where Walmart was kind of initiating with one of the companies in Kerala, where they had this distribution mechanism to find out, okay, how the organic food was coming from one place to another, and there is a record on what the farm activities were, right? So those kind of work that was happening. And if you look at India, for instance, right, we have a special place for all these things, because we, for instance, have the biggest amount of small farmers who are in the fields, and 16% of our GDP comes from agriculture itself. And we have the largest amount of land which is under agriculture, right? Even though we may not be the one which produces the highest amount of harvest per capita. So there is a biggest, there is a lot of opportunity with respect to that particular use case, and many started building solutions around it. And one of the statistic that came out was almost like 12 crore farmers. How after the emergence of this insurance related to small farmers, right? There was a way of looking at how can we group together 12 crore farmers in one way or the other, which make sure that if there is a loss in crops in a particular area, it is reported properly, and claims can be distributed to those areas, right? So I'll be talking more about that. 2016, there is this Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, and many companies starting to provide solutions for that. So that is one of the cases that I'm looking at. Then this property land management, like Andhra Pradesh, looking at making it digital and in blockchain, right? So that kind of a thing. So many of the East European countries are ahead of us in that. Many times ahead of us in that, in keeping it one digital, second making sure that it's all in blockchain, so that anyone can look at the land documents, provenance of who was owning that land piece over a period of time, what kind of changes has happened in that land piece, and how that ownership of the land is going to be affected legally, right? Those kind of problem statements used to be there. And these are, it's a very good use case if you look at it. right? But then how you look at it and how you solve the problem is also another case. Public sector utility providers, there are, I mean, umpteen number of projects. If you can search in the internet on how electricity can be distributed using a kind of a currency that is put up for this. You can have a grid in between, and this grid controls who use more, who use less, and somebody can give the energy that is created more with them to the people who are using. I mean, this is in case of you are having solar panels on top of your houses, and the solar panel creates electricity, and you can distribute to the grid, supply it to the excess to the grid, and the grid helps in redistributing it among the households, right? So a way of making sure that people who are using less is incentivized, and the people who are using more have to pay for it, an additional payment for that. So those kind of use cases. Waste management, for instance, is a big area where how you dispose your particularly battery or other kind of waste that can go into the water table and cause pollution, right? Poisonous pollution, and how you dispose it. And incentives, like in Germany, they have this incentivization of plastic waste and other chemical waste, right? In the sense where there is a small portion of money that you take along with the product itself, so that when it is recycled back, it is incentivized and given back to the user, the customer. So that kind of so if you have a blockchain behind it, you can monitor who is doing that, who is not doing it, and a way of making sure that every waste is managed and recycled properly. So that is another way of applying this. So education is a big area. Like for instance, Kerala Blockchain Academy have this hash. So you get a certificate from them. You can look at it from through a blockchain, right? You can verify you have the number, and the certificate has this QR code. You can scan the QR code, and you can see it online, right? So you don't have to carry your bunches of certificates to make sure that you have the certificate in it. And in fact, many of the universities are kind of coming forward to have this online, because it's a lot of trouble to have these records maintained as paper in universities, right? And if, for instance, there is a search for veracity of these documents, you have to go through the physical paper, which is time consuming, and somebody has to go physically and take the file off a shelf and then look at the document and then issue a certificate for that, which is a old world way of doing things. And in the new world, what you have to have is a digitally enabled way of putting the certificate, with a provision that nobody can tamper, right? There should not be a fake certificate, education certificate made and then pushed into a university. It should never happen. So you have a way of nobody getting to tamper education certificate. There's a way of checking that, where there's a unique number to it, and there's a unique way of getting that information and the certificate for, say, an employer who is looking at the education qualification of a person, right? Then there is the supply chain for manufacturers. So supply chain is one area where a lot of projects are ongoing, right? And one of the thing was a project called Trade Lens, which is done by IBM and Maersk. Many people discuss that, and it's a much celebrated case of a blockchain implementation, where IBM and Maersk, which is like the biggest player in the transportation market, the shipping market, where they own almost 21% of the market share, and they came together and automated and put this thing in blockchain. The entire set of operation. Otherwise, if you look at it, it's a ecosystem that they developed around it, with ports, the transporters, every person on, I mean, a lot of people together in the supply chain, coming together to develop the trade lens platform. But then for that itself, there was a lag in adoption, right? So that is where I was coming at. Like, there are many use cases that are there. There are many applications that you can read into. But then, okay, how would you look at that adoption rate and find, okay, where is it all going, right? So that is a kind of a bottleneck. So in this case particularly, because if you see, Maersk is a big player who's out there, and there are other smaller players who are also there in the market. You always have that trust factor playing there, even though you are doing a project on blockchain, right? And if there is a way in which data goes out or leaks out for all these other players, they had this question. So it takes time for them to accept the entire project, the idea, and then buy onto it, and then come on board, and then go with it, right? I mean, adopt it. So that adoption has a cycle time, and that is happening over a period of time. And another area is the counterfeit medicines. So this is a big piece. For instance, I mean, one of the use case that is discussed a lot is in Cameroon, for instance. There was this cartels that play a big role in bringing medicines. I mean, importing medicines from outside. I mean, maybe the government is importing the medicines, and what they do is they play in between and replace the medicine, or do some amount of changes with respect to the medicine before it actually reaches the customer, right? So to make sure that the right medicines for which the money was paid by the government or agencies like the UN, so if they are putting money, they needed to know who it is getting to, and if the last mile transportation is even tracked, right? Then that gives a lot of confidence for them to putting more money on it. So that needed to be established by the government and other people who are involved in ordering this medicine. So they're looking at these kind of technologies to help in getting this entire process cleared up. Post trade settlement, for instance, is a big thing, particularly with respect to international trades, right? Where you have to make sure that all the money, because it will be a cross currency trade that will be happening, and you have to make sure that all the exchanges that happen in the process, it's all cleared up before the trade is finalized. So how do you make sure that it happens is interested in a lot of people in the old world case, right? And a lot of paperwork. I mean, thousands of paperwork that has to happen between, and a lot of intermediaries, including banks and clearing houses, which make sure that these transactions are done. And then there is an incentive for people to keep the money for quite some time, because say there is a float for keeping money, there's a percentage difference, right? So they keep the money for some time so that the percentage comes to them, right? So most of the time the international clearing agencies or the intermediaries between these banks have to come together, come and order who has to give the money, and then it has to be settled. So there is a lot of chance to put, there's a lot of option to put blockchain in between that. And healthcare, for instance, because the medical records, you can't carry these medical records along with you. And there should be a place where all these medical records are stored, and every time you go to a hospital, there should be, whatever diagnosis or medicines that you're having, the prescriptions that you're having, if there's a place to log it, and you can access it, and every hospital can access it. it's a good way of managing medical records. And many use cases within the healthcare industry where blockchain can be used. In all this nails, for instance, right, where you can use your hammer, which is blockchain. There's one glaring thing that you would see. And whenever you read through all these particular use cases and whoever is doing that, and what's the kind of challenges that they face, one glaring thing is that there will be a big number of people who would not want such a project to come up, right? Because what you are looking at is disintermediation at some point of time. And there are, in every of these areas, of these business areas, there are people who are making money just because the system is not efficient. And all these inefficiencies in the system may be transfer of money from one place to another, and there is a regulation in a particular country with respect to that. Or one hospital don't want an operation that is diagnosed, because of a diagnosis that was done in that hospital to go to another hospital. Or sharing of a particular information will be detrimental to that particular company, right? And easy flow of information can cause loss of revenue to them, right? So there is lot of reasons because of which people have incentives to not go with such projects, and they will surely cause problems for that. And it's a lot of force that needs to be applied, or a top-down approach that has to come through to get this project together. Or in a more democratized world, people have to come together to make sure that if that is for the greater good of all the people involved, all the stakeholders involved, that should be implemented, like the CODA project, right? CODA, the banking, in the banking and insurance sector, the financial management sector, people recognize the need for coming together and implementing certain requirements. So there came together an association which helps in finding what kind of requirements are there, what are the solutions that can be brought about in it, and how do you implement that. So that helps in finding the requirements and adding that and coding that in a way, and then that can be adopted by specific groups within that larger group, and that can be adopted by others as well. So that kind of clears the missing links. The gaps will be cleared, and then once the gaps are cleared, you find that there is greater adoption for such projects. So what I'm trying to say is that whenever you are coming to these kind of projects, there is a lot of runway to all these projects. And the earlier view that, okay, this is a quick bucks thing, right? Putting money to a new technology, a new digital technology will be giving you quick bucks. Well, it's not a notion if you can look through all these particular cases and go in detail through it, right? So that is the point that I was getting to. So you would see many of these examples out there. There are there are various big heads into which all the projects that you see, right, can be put in. There are smart contracts that are being built. Digital currency, this is a big area where you have all the cryptos that are working in the market, and how that can be put in a blockchain and help and be helpful in looking at how the transactions are made. Record keeping is another big area in healthcare or title records, ownership of property, for instance, even the voting that is causing problems, right? The US elections, for instance, there is a lot of paper ballot that get exchanged and late coming of paper ballots, and people not trusting the system. And then there are social media, which is kind of pushing in news which says that, okay, the voting is corrupt, and there is a lot of mail-in ballot which is not valid at all. Why it is all coming is because the system itself is not flushing out all these issues. If there is a one-to-one mapping of who has the right to vote, and how the voting is done, and whether the vote is recorded or not. So if that chain is established using a technology such as a blockchain, and you make sure that that one-to-one mapping is established and is maintained all through, then there is no problem with respect to that. So there's a lot of things that is in the runway and has to be adopted. And like Eastern Europe, for instance, is leading the way. Estonia, for instance, is a blockchain country. I mean, Mauritius has declared itself to be a blockchain island. So those kind of adoptions, if it goes and if it proves to be useful, and it solves the problem of that trust factor that is inherently causing gaps in societies around the world, right? If that problem is increasingly being solved by the technology, then adoptions will be faster, and you see that more and more economies adopting that, more and more countries adopting that, right? So that anyway, I mean, it's people are hopeful of the next 20 years for that. So that is where the investments that are coming in are going, right? So, and also the securities part, the money part, debt equity, derivatives, if all these things were, there is a chance of manipulation, and people with big money can do some amount of tampering with respect to that. That's also one area where projects and applications are kind of coming in. And there are also startups that are putting their money into that. And particularly if you look at digital identity as a area, I mean, like for instance, if at all our Aadhaar was kind of done using blockchain, it would have been great, because I mean, there will be only one person, and his identity will be established through the network. Anyone can, I mean, the authorized people can can get the information right through a trusted source. And that, I mean, that kind of a way of doing that would have eliminated some mistrust that happened. I mean, while there were court cases related to that and all. Supply chain, for instance, there is a lot of applications that are happening, and small startups are putting in solutions that are helping in a great way. Payments is a big market, you know that, and smart contracts are being written for different I mean, cases, for instance. And one of the cases that I would like to explain is the notary example. So that is one area where I have got involved in, and I have a perspective that which I want to, maybe I'll go to that particular area and explain that. So you would have heard about this hype cycle. It was very famous because there was this New York-based soft drinks company called Long Island Iced Tea, which changed their name, and there was a 500% share up. And this is a celebrated case of how this hype work in a society where a lot of people are ready to put money on the next big thing, right? So without wasting much time, let me go to that perspective. So let me pause a bit and ask if there is any question that you have before I present the cases that I have. Sandeep,
they can ask question, I think. Hello? Hello.
Oh, I mean, somebody had pointed out that my presentation is stick to the first page only.
Okay.
Oh, is that so? I didn't realize that.
No, no, you have not changed the slides, sir.
Oh, I
First
mean,
slide.
is it coming fine now?
No, only the first page we are seeing. I thought you have been talking.
Really? Okay.
Now
My
it's the
screen
second
was being
page.
shared. Okay, you should have
No.
actually interrupted. Okay, so maybe I put this on.
Hello, sir. Hello.
Are there any questions since you didn't look at? I mean, see the slide, right?
Hello, sir.
Yeah. Was there any question in between?
No, I lost my connection in between. That's the thing.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So are guys there in the sense everyone?
Yeah. Everyone is there.
All there, and they can hear me, right?
Yeah, surely. We were thought you have been talking and the slide will be moved later.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Okay. Anyway, so maybe I mean I kind of covered 10 slides on it, but nevertheless. So the main part that I wanted to cover here was these perspectives. So I think that I will put it on the slides itself, and let me know if there is a problem with respect to the slide movement. So you can see the slide which says notarization, right?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, sure. So this is one of the projects where a, an attorney in the state of California in the US was looking at a problem of having, I mean, making notarization fraud free. So this notarization process, like for instance, if you were selling your property from one place to, I mean, one person to another, it has to be notarized by somebody. So somebody will put their seal and signature after the clients sign on the deed, right? And this notarization process adds a lot of validity to this transaction, right? And what used to happen is that the seniors in the US sometimes they leave uh, out of their pensions alone, and maybe they're divorced or their spouses would have passed away, and when they're alone and there are people who would approach them saying that, okay, if you sell your property on which in which you are living, or you have another property, you can sell it to us, and we will make sure that we'll give you some money out here, and also make sure that you're compensated till I mean whatever time you're living, right? So with a lot of pressure, or they being given money at the point when they need it the most, they take the property deed, right? May not pay the entire money. The documents would be with them, and they start selling this project. I mean, this uh, title to other people, and there are rings of people who have been busted, and some. I mean, there are people who uses this notarization process, right? Because it just needs that notarization seal to be embossed on the document. And many times what has happened is that these notarization seals are easier to duplicate, right? They're just seals which are duplicated by people, and and because of which there's a like kind of a annual estimated fraud of $750 million that is happening in the real estate area. And the major losers at this because of this is other title companies. The title of the property will be held by the title companies. Sometimes insurance companies will be holding that, saying that okay, this property is being managed by them, and then uh, they will have to bear the loss if the property has been wrongly transacted, right? So there was this attorney who brought this solution, brought this problem up and said that okay, this can be solved by using blockchain. And he presented it to many people, investors, for instance. And because he knew the business, and that is so he was able to amass some money on it, and he started selling. I mean, he started putting together a solution on it. So only problem is that what he was trying to actually do was force fitting technology into a problem. uh, One thing was that okay, maybe he was looking at the problem that there is a fraud, there is a chance of fraud out there, and blockchain has some way of making sure that a fraud doesn't happen, right? So he was saying this technology can solve that, and then the solution started evolving, right? So how do we look at that problem? How do we perceive this problem, and what will be the solution? So there are three ways of looking at it. Is the notary being verified, right? That is one way of looking at it, because you have an embossment that happened on the title document, right? And then another thing that had to be thought through was whether the clients are verified. You are coming, you're into a notary's office, clients are coming in, there could be anyone, and they hold the title, right? And the title has their names. How do you make sure that the name that is written on the title is that of the client? So how do you verify that? So they give their ID card there, and this ID card will have their names and the ID number, license number, which would also be there in this thing. What if that is fake? What if the ID card is fake, right? And how it is locked? So what happens is that when the sign, the signature of the clients are taken, are put on the document, on the transaction document, and it is signed by the notary, and it is sent to the departments, right? The local departments, and they put it on a rack, and then it's kind of entered into a bigger ledger, which is mostly either digital, which is done by data entry operator, and there could be even there will be counties in the US where it will be put in a paper ledgers. So when this entire process happened, there is no verification at any point of time because the notary has verified, right? And there is a big chance that this could be, I mean, there could be fraud in that. Why? Because the process that they were following was a 13th century process, right? This entire process was driven through an embosser. This embosser is kind of a seal kind of thing, which is punched on the document. So you sign that, and then this embosser will be punched on the document, and this is the only verification which is done by a independent notary, which make sure that this transaction has happened, and then it goes to the agencies or the public offices, which records it. Their duty is to record that. Now, and for almost like centuries, this has not been rectified. And also the new age problems that came up, right? Because this people trusted the system, people trusted the way it worked. The new age problem is that there could be uh, fake IDs that can be generated. People say in the US, they can look up the state's general way of doing licenses, find out okay what are the uh, I mean ways in which tamper proofing has been done and emulate that, and that becomes fake IDs. So there were cases where high quality fake IDs were kind of caught by the legal, I mean the police department, and busted. I mean, groups were busted. So it was happening for quite a long time that this kind of fake IDs were used for property transactions, and that's why there was this big industry of 750 million of frauds happening in the title industry, and the whole money was getting paid by the title companies and insurance companies who are having these records, right? And then this stolen professional identity. Sometimes these people who are working as notaries are, really old attorneys who also happen to do this kind of embossing work. So their professional identity will just be this seal. There will be two things in it: a number and a unique number for that particular attorney, and then there will be like this expiry date for. So this by till this time you will be able to go and do a kind of a notarization, and these are the states in which it will be applicable. Mostly state will have their own stamp that will be given. Now these are the kind of scenarios that are there. Anyone can go in and have a fake ID, get a stolen professional identity of a notary that will be lying in one of their desks. So somebody can come in, get a copy of that, and then use that to make fake documents, right? That was going on. And there was another industry which I was talking about, where undue influence can be done to seniors, right? Old people can be forced to sign a document or given some amount of money, and they would be told that you will get this money, which may not be even reflecting the price of the property, and they will be they'll be asked to sign this property. The notaries, they are getting this facility, otherwise they would have to go out on their own, visit a notary public, get a client for themselves. And mostly the real estate the people, right, they the agents, the brokers would help them in finding somebody. But there's a lot of trouble in getting that. They say, okay, see, these people are coming to me, I just have to sign, and notary is also coming to me, I get it embossed, the seal is done, and then the work is over, and they get the money, they get some money in that, and the actual money will be taken by the fraudsters. So this was happening. Now, though the problem was understood, the only thing that was thought through from a technology angle was that it will be solved by blockchain. So there were a lot of other angles that had to be thought through, which happened much later, and that's how this project was actually done. And then there was so how it was thought through was in a serial manner. Okay, so that is where the perspective coming in. So you can't just look at it from one size fits all, or this technology is the right thing for wherever there is a fraud involved in the system, right? It has to be thought through from the first point onwards. So one is to make sure that the notary who is registering, who is doing the thing, right, the application is verified. So what happens is that there are many startups which are doing this kind of a verification of person, the face of a person to the IDs that they're holding. So that is available in many parts of the US. So what what was thought through is that we'll have this person, this kind of company who does this facial recognition. Facial recognition will take some points on your face and make sure that your picture is verified against your face, right? So whenever this document is getting signed, one thing will be done. There will be an app that will be created, and the app will have this feature, which is a facial recognition software, which recognizes the points in your face versus the photo that is given as an ID proof. And this will be matched and made sure that it is done. So the problems could be that the ID can have an old photo. Maybe say an ID in a particular state is valid for 10 years, right? So if it was a photograph that was taken in 2010 and you are in 2020 before it is getting it expired, your face would have changed a lot. Maybe you would have grown a beard, or you would have some kind of surgery done on maybe a part of your face, or some facial features would have changed. You started wearing a spectacle or whatever. So this the technology, the facial recognition technology that these guys had this thing of looking at your face in entirety and had recognizing the points in detail. And they had this added feature of looking at the iris, and that's another technology per se, and finding out certain points that are unique for a person, right? So what happens is that when this entire facial this helps a lot in making sure that that first level of identification is done digitally, and made sure that the notary is validated even before doing a particular transaction. The same is repeated for a client. They also go through this facial recognition and ID card recognition thing. And these three people, or multiple people, I mean, depending on who all are the title owners and who all are the people to whom the title is being transferred, and any people involved. If there's a bank involved, right, then that is recorded. And then the document has been verified. You have record. There are companies in the US who have records of properties. So if you look at the latitudes and longitudes of those areas, and you give that, and they will be able to recognize the exact people who are owning that property and what is the provenance of that. So the data is available, right? I mean, if you take this same kind of problem to India, maybe there will be challenges with respect to that, because maybe it is not digitized in every part of the country, and there is some amount of challenge in solving this kind of a problem there. But in US, for instance, there are companies like Black Knight. If you Google that, they have this kind of system where all those data is already there, and you are kind of able to search for the ownership of the property, as well as the provenance of ownership of that property. So when you have all these things working together, then it becomes easy for putting it all together. So it was not just one technology of blockchain that helped in. So you take the identification of notary, put it into a blockchain, right? You identified it and you were verifying and then putting it into a blockchain. Then you have the client verification done, and that information, the information collected is also put in a blockchain. Then you have the third thing, which is the property related details, that also is taken. And then you have the transaction. So it all comes together, and then it becomes a record in the blockchain. And then these records started building, right? And then I mean, what they were conceiving is I mean, more and more people, more and more notaries adopting it, and then they will be able to roll it out as a big solution. I mean, they got a good amount of I mean, funding for that, and they were able to run their pilot and kind of collecting a lot of notaries into that. So that is a good solution. So the point that I was looking at is that, yeah, the ideas generally come that way itself, where you are enthusiastic about a technology, and you know for sure that there is a problem, and you want to apply the technology into that problem. And then there comes this big thing of finding out, okay, what are the areas, what are the other things that you have to solve. Maybe many technologies have to come together, and you have to put it in equal proportion to make sure that the result is achieved. Right, that is one perspective that you have when you run a project or you have a student project that you want to look at. Second perspective is the clarity of requirements, right? And this is based on one of the cases that I was looking at, which is with respect to agriculture, right? So in with respect to agriculture, there are two ways in which we record the harvest, right? One is the yield per area of from a particular place, and another is a parameterized recording, which says that the waterfall at a particular area is this much, or the humidity is this much, or whatever factors that affect that particular crop, right? Whether it be a kharif or rabi, what the seasons, irrespective of season, the crop will have certain features which it is dependent on. If you can link it up, and then that type of, I mean, it's all based on the insurance that you're applying, right? So yield based, there is a major program that started in 2016, which is called the Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, which started receiving a lot of premium, collecting a lot of premium into that. So one of those people who are solving issues with respect to that was the company in question. So what they wanted to do was to ensure correct entry of data, and there is no tampering of data at any point of time, right? And so they knew that blockchain can be used as a solution. So the issue with respect to that is that there's so much of requirements which needed to be collected to make that happen, right? Because this crop insurance policy entails many different kind of crops that are in the country, and this is a crop being a state subject, right? So all these different types of crops have to be dealt with in a different case. So many insurance companies came together and became a way of collecting the premium from farmers and other agencies which are helping. And there is a lot of subsidies that are given by the center and state for that, and a small percentage of that is also paid by the farmer, right? So the crops are covered under that. So because it is a yield based method of collecting data, what used to happen is that there is a way of going into different areas, into villages, where there will be a function that will be conducted to find the yield in the different areas, and it's called crop cutting experiment, CCE. And this crop cutting experiment is a way in which you you do the harvest for a fixed specified area, and that in that specified area, whatever yield comes in, and that is recorded as the yield per hectare. And the insurance policy put in something called the threshold yield, that is the yield that has to happen, below which there will be, I mean, you can say that there are losses that happen to the farmers, right? And that is established over a period of time, saying that this much should happen in minimum. And on the other side, when in each harvest time, right, you have to go in and you have the machinery of that particular area, the village village, the panchayat people, the people from government, the state government, central government. There are observers from the insurance company, and because mostly these are reinsured products, right? The Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima, the policy itself, there is a lot of reinsurance coming. Maybe there are observers from them. they all come together. I mean, so not all in all villages, but then this process happen. They will cut harvest from that particular area, and the yield is determined. And they look at, okay, what is the actual yield at every point of time, and then measure it against the threshold yield. And then if it is less, then there is a claim that happens for those policies. Now, this is a central policy, right? And there are state governments which run that. And there could be cases in which fraudulent activities may happen, right? And this particular company was looking at ways to handle that and make sure that there is no tampering of data. Now, if you're finding a solution for that, there has to be many aspects, and this particular project was not successful because of majorly one big issue of finding, I mean, of not studying the requirements. So one thing you need to understand is that there is a geotagging that has to happen, which means that you need to identify, okay, the farm that is being assessed, and the people who are involved with respect to that, whether the correct entry of data is something that can be done on the field, which is coordinated by a lot of activities, and whether this recording to the database happens properly. But, and also another thing is you have to capture all the information, right? It's not just the yield per area that comes in. There is a farmer information and a lot of insurance information that comes in. So one thing that was not planned well, or the requirement was not studied, was that there was applications that were promoted by the government itself, which the particular party was not looking at, so he did not study, okay, what are the solutions that are already there, and was building a big solution which can solve the problem and help in logging of CC and getting claims information. I mean, a lot of things got built into it, which ultimately could not be used because there was a promotion of a particular application which was not gelling well with this particular application, and finally the project had to be dropped. Now, so the perspective that I'm trying to build is that, yeah, you have a great idea, you have a good nail on which your hammer can be hit. But because you kind of did not study it in entirety, and what are the dynamics that keep coming in the field, in the ecosystem, because this is a lot of people who are involved, government is involved, companies who are giving the solutions are involved, machineries, government machineries are involved, farmers are involved, a lot of people are involved. You need to have kind of pilots to be run, take people into confidence one by one, and then have to be built, and then have a top-down kind of an approach, because these kind of government projects, what has to happen is there is a top-down thing that has to work, right? It never, though, I mean, the pilots have to be done on the field, there has to be a push to make sure that this kind of mechanism and these solutions are really implemented, right? So that buy-in has to happen, right? So that is one perspective from a business side that I wanted to bring in. And the third perspective that I wanted to bring in is to have an outcome-based approach to do that. And for this, I kind of presenting a case where this is again a US case where there are these tribes which are there in Alaska, right? You've seen this state called Alaska, which is like a mineral-rich state, and the people who are staying in those areas are natives over there. And when they had this contract that was built long back, which ensured that they will get benefits out of the government, out of the federal government, if they give their land for mining activities and other activities which go on to take the minerals out of their places. And these are the mineral rich areas of the country, United States, right? Now, the tribes in in Alaska, I mean, we call some of the, I mean, there are many tribes. I mean, we call them generally as Indians, right? Red Indians, they have their way of living. They have their communities. Mostly they depend on fishing and hunting for their life. They are detached from the rest of the uh, United States in many aspects. They have to, I mean, if they have to go to their respective places, they have to travel a lot, maybe fly to a particular place and then go using SUVs to reach their place. So they have a different way of life, right? And because there was a contract in which their places were kind of ceded to the federal agencies, they were given a lot of benefits in the sense housing benefits, job benefits, and umpteen number of benefits were given through government programs. Now there was a need to streamline all these benefits to them to make sure that they reach the rightful people. Now the problem is that many of these people are married between tribes, and certain tribes have certain exclusive benefits. Certain tribes have some benefits excluded from them. And when I mean, on a normal case, these tribes won't have mingle with themselves, but sometimes over a period of time, the numbers getting are deteriorated, then marriages between inter tribes happen, and then there became another set of problem where they were not able to channelize these benefits to the right people, right? And sometimes people were getting more benefits than they are entitled to, and sometimes some tribesmen were not getting benefits, no benefits at all. And uh, there came an agency called Bureau of Indian Affairs, BIA, who were like overseeing this particular thing, and they wanted to streamline this because uh, most of the time, I mean, sometimes if you look at it, some of the tribesmen would not give all their information to the agencies to account for their benefits and other things, right? And so all the different agencies and the benefits had to be streamlined in some way. So if you look at it from an outcome perspective, all these benefits had to be tracked to the people who are have to get the benefits out of it. And because there is a big subset of people who are not even in the system, there are no ways to get to them, right? And sometimes I mean, they have to get to ways in which this first the digitization of all the information have to happen, and then the mapping has to happen, and then you have to find out ways of applying technology to make sure that this reach the right people, and then duplicates are avoided. Multiple people don't get to get the same kind of benefits, etc., right? So that exclusions can be built up in the system. So one of the ways to do it is applying blockchain to it, and other ways are also possible, because if you look at it, it's just streamlining the process, making one-to-one mapping, right? But then if there is tampering of data at some point of time, right, then the blockchain helps a lot in making sure that each benefit have groups of people who are kind of getting that, right? And making sure that only those people are getting it. So then that streamlining also makes sure that the right amount is dispersed, and that can also be verified. The transaction, the end transaction, final transaction can also be verified. So, so this was from a outcome perspective. Actually, what was looked at is that can we give a mapping, right, which is a easier thing, mapping of beneficiary, and bring together a way to include the people who are not in the network, which is another government machinery's work, which has to be done by the agencies, and then making sure that this entitlement is kind of mapped, right, and then that is kind of a digital record. That is the groundwork that has to be established. So that is the required outcome, I mean the required platform to do this. And then you have to map these families, because there are tribes and the families who are there, and then there are the cross linkings that are there. And so look at the families, say people who are staying in Alaska, and then they have their families elsewhere. So if you look at these people, because they have a lot of benefits, right? You're staying in Alaska, their lifestyle will be different. They go for fishing, they take the fish, they do the I mean cooking at home, they have hunting, and that's their way of life. Their climate is also like that, right? The salmon farms are there. I mean, the nature has given them a lot of things that make them live happily without much of a connection to the outside world. So those facilities make them live in those places, irrespective of they have jobs or not, right? And because there are facilities, there are benefits that are coming their way from the government, they won't have to look for alternatives. But then things are changing, and they needed more money, benefits, etc., for which they are slowly coming out. So there will be immediate family who are distributed across other states in the country, and then they have to find out, okay, who are these other people, whether they subscribed, they want this kind of benefits, or they want to opt out. So there's a lot of data collection that has to happen, and then the process has to be linked in such a way that duplication of records doesn't happen. There is no tampering of data with respect to who are the tribes, and whether wrong people are there in the records, right? So a lot of other work has to happen, because if you look at it, social security is one thing that is given to all these people, and they should, I mean, rightfully they should have the social security number, which is one record that can recognize all these people, right? But then if that itself is not accessible to a majority set of people, then it becomes a problem. So I mean, evangelizing that and getting to the other set of people becomes a bigger headache than the other thing. And then you go into the technology part of it, that is logging the disbursement in a blockchain or any other technology. I mean, in this case, it could be any, right? And the advantage of blockchain is that you get this unique disbursement. The transactions will be unique, and you make sure that this entire entire BIA activity will be transparent and tracked, right? And whenever there is a report that is run, and it has to be presented back to the federal agencies, it becomes easier for them to look at. So the approach that was taken was an outcome-based one, which helped in making sure that this entire thing is flawless to the entire set of people who are involved. So I think that is what I wanted to talk to you about. There's an entire set of things. Maybe I'll take some questions on this, because this is majorly on looking at blockchain, not just from a technology perspective, because you would have gone through how to create a smart contract, and how consensus is brought in this kind of networks. What is how the provenance is established, and the other things. I mean, putting one technology against another, Ethereum or Hyperledger Fabric or any EOS.io. All these things you would have gone through, but then how to look at it from a business perspective is what I was looking at, and that will be more fruitful when we discuss about it. So I would like to hear from you as to what kind of projects that you would have run in your respective colleges or universities. And there are many colleges I know who have incubators as well within them, and many projects which are kind of financed. There are people who have raised Series A, Series B funds as well in many colleges, and specific offices for blockchain and other technologies, new age technologies and solutions are being made on that, right? So maybe I'll also like to hear your thoughts and questions on that. So Sandeep.
Yes, sir. I will wait for the questions.
Yeah.
Is there any questions? Hello? Solomon, sir, hello?
So I'll also check the chat box. Okay.
Sir, which technology you are using in your firm?
The first one, notarization, was a EOS.io implementation. So that was because of the reason that the technology partner was specifically looking at it. They were creating a kind of a fork out of EOS.io and was creating a platform called, they call it Trost, which was helping to make sure that immutable records are created with a light amount of data in it. So what they were looking at is nodes in the network would be mobile phones, which stores very less amount of data. You know that most of these blockchains are computationally intensive. There is a lot of computation that happens, which fires up the networks, computer networks, and you'll have to hire farms of computer networks to run this kind of process, right? So what their big idea, the technology partners' big idea, was to make it accessible to mobile phones, and that mobile phone will be storing 256 KB. That's a on-chain, off-chain data that will be stored. That much. That's it, and that can help to establish the required chain and make sure that these mobile phones, which will be owned by people who are in the networks, for in this case mostly notaries, own these phones, and then this network will be established, which makes sure that this entire process of notarization will be error free, right? So that was so that is EOS.io, and Hyperledger Fabric for a couple of the other projects, and Ethereum. Those are the technologies that we are using.
So any questions? Gajanan sir, hello? Hello, sir?
So I think one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about, promoting, if as faculty we want to help our students with respect to bringing these kind of projects together, you can look at these ideas which are going to help, say, agriculture, farmers, for instance, right? What are the problems that are faced by farmers? You can actually Google in these various sites which are doing projects for PMFBY, Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, because there are a lot of insurance companies who are involved in it. And at one point of time, there were insurance companies that were coming out of the project because they found that it is costing a lot of money to be involved rather than getting out of it, right? Because it's a central policy, and insurance companies are acting as brokers for collecting premium from the farmers and from different states, right? And there is a lot of subsidy that also goes with it, right? So many startups started providing solutions to make the entire system efficient. And I mean, till now there are startups who are working on it. So those are kind of projects which actually are going to help uh, the people on the ground, and also is going to be, I mean, in future can be adopted by governments, and could be of help to even the private companies, insurance companies, for instance, in this. Or even you can look at the community of farmers who find it difficult to record data and then publish it. So there could be projects on that front. I mean, it could be any of these areas which I was talking about.
Sir,
So you can ask.
I want to know the projects about the document management for the government. For the government, uh, there are any projects going on for the government using blockchain management.
Yeah, I understand that Andhra Pradesh is doing a lot of work with respect to having these title documents in blockchain. The title deeds, right? Your property documents, right? They're kind of digitizing and putting in blockchain is what I understand. And I think there is a lot of work in Tamil Nadu as well. In the last uh, block hash live, right? The annual program that is run by Kerala Blockchain Academy. They some high, I mean, a senior officer uh, from Tamil Nadu was speaking about what the kind of work that they are doing in their state, and one of them is the digitization of documents. I mean, even in Kerala, you would see these projects for digitization of documents, but then not putting that in blockchain. One thing I have heard is when this floods happened in 2018, there were a lot of records that were lost, and that had to be recreated in record time, and that was done by getting these document numbers and putting in a blockchain and publishing it, kind of thing, right? So those kind of projects are happening, and certain universities, I'm not kind of getting these names, but then uh, the certificates of universities now getting digitized and put in blockchain is helping people. Say, for instance, there are certain places where there's rampant fraud certificates that are getting issued, right? I mean, you get a degree certificate from the market, and you publish that, and you get jobs, particularly jobs outside the country, particularly maybe US, UK, etc., where fake certificates are used. So there was no way to look at the veracity, whether this certificate is valid or not. So universities were themselves coming up and finding out a way of doing that, right? And
Yes,
so one of the ways they were doing was digitizing and putting in blockchain. And so I think, I mean, there are I mean, projects that are going on in multiple areas, even the government sector, but then we'll have to look through their government sites and projects that are running to have a clear idea of what exactly is happening.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sir, can you have idea about any means the projects which are going on in this direction that have feasibility on the means implementation feasibility? Can you focus on implementation feasibility regarding this kind of projects?
Yeah.
related to document management, mainly government point of view, or the documents which are issued by the universities or certification authorities.
Yeah. So one of the points that has to be kept in mind is when you're putting these documents, digitizing documents, right? One of the major issues is with respect to identifying and recording it properly, the data entry part. The first base is the data entry part, making sure that the data is correctly captured. So one issue that always happens is that you kind of scan this document and then keep it record. If you look at this Acrobat PDF documents that are there, right?
Yes.
You will not be able to kind of put it in a searchable format. So what you have to do is scan and get this data that is there in the PDF document as text, which is searchable,
Yes.
and put it in a database, right?
Yes.
So people start with a scanning project and declare that they have digitized these documents. So that never ends there. You have to scan it. You have to get this record, the text out of these records, and then put it in a searchable platform.
Yes.
So once this searchable platform is ready, then you can find out, okay, what are the unique identifiers in these documents, right? Sometimes what happens is that the land records are recorded differently in different tahsils, taluks, panchayats, right? Sometimes say a particular land will be mentioned as 003/241. You would find the same number 003 but bar 241 in another taluk, which is unrelated. But when you ask the computer to find out, okay, what is this particular, which is this particular property, they will show that both the identifiers. Unique identifier is a major problem then, right? You have to find a way of making sure that the identity is established. So sometimes you put it as Kerala is KL, Karnataka is K, and you put a slash and then another number to identify the particular taluk, tahsildar office, and then another identifier below that, and another identifier to get the property name, right? Sometimes, so what you have to make sure is that this identifier themselves doesn't get merged. If you're just putting one letter, two letters for it, say Kerala, if K is only put, right? Or the names which sound similar, states with names which are sound similar, then you will have to make sure that is thought through. The second perspective that I was talking about, the requirements perspective. You're thinking through this entire program, the project, and then you go to the document management thing where you have all the files recorded, you have unique identifiers, and then you are recording it into blockchain or whatever technology to make sure that there is no tampering and these records are safely put, right? So there is a lot of kind of groundwork that has to happen.
Ground level requirements are there. Standardization of naming standardization.
Yeah. Naming standardization is at least this numbers standardization. So one thing I was talking to you about that land records in the US, right? There was unique number to these lands. So say a California land, you can look at this particular system and find the unique number. So if we can establish that across panchayats in our country, then it becomes easier for recognizing these documents. So if there is a centralized way of identifying lands, because the problem I'll tell you. So land is a state subject, right? So these kind of projects will run as a state project, and the numbers will be identifiable and unique within the state. But then if you compare that state with another state, then it becomes a problem. So the other problems come into play, like, oh, you'll have to put a KL, you'll have to KA or some other thing as a unique identifier, right? And then you'll have to put it in a blockchain, right? So what if you are making it thin, wafer thin for putting in an on-chain path? Then you would rather go with numerics than a alphanumeric. Then this whole problem, I mean, there is a whole lot of problem for you. You'll have to make it numeric again by inducing some more set of numbers to it. I mean, are you able to relate to what I'm saying?
Yes, yes, sir.
Right.
Understand.
So
Understand.
have a unique, yeah.
Because in our country there are different methodologies may be used for
Correct.
legacy methods
Correct.
may be there.
Correct.
Yes, yeah,
So yeah, so the major problem of adoption of technology in our place is that runway, the longer runway that we have for this entire set of things. Because one, we have to get this digitized. Second, we have to have it in databases, searchable databases.
yes.
Third, then we have to have unique identifiers.
Identification.
Then we have to apply the technology. So the runway for getting there is longer.
Yes.
And that is where students and researchers around the country have to play a bigger role in making sure that these runways are reduced through smarter methods. So if there are people who think about it and propose solutions, right, then there becomes, I mean, there are smarter ways of doing things, because there are projects that are run in states within their IT departments seeking solutions for that. And most of the time, there will be project reports that are created which will never be used. So what colleges can do is that having research reports proactively, which can solve many of these ground level problems, which we can identify by just visiting the nearest village office or a tahsildar office, wherever, and we'll be able to identify umpteen number of problems where we can give technology solutions.
Yes, sir. Understand.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for asking that. Yeah.
So any other questions? Okay. Sir, I would like to thank you for coming here and giving us an idea about this, because from day one, we are not going to the business aspects. We are studying how to implement these things. That's the main thing. So this is the only session we have come to this business perspective.
Okay. Thank you so much.
So I would like to call upon Alekha to express his view about the session. Hello, Alekha.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
So I'm audible?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yes. So, yeah, I extend a very hearty vote of thank you to sir for introducing the business perspective from the blockchain, and also introducing new projects about this topic, and giving an excellent interaction session for us, sir. And for gaining your important work and sharing with us your findings and opinions today. Thank you, sir.
So, thank you, sir.
Alekha. Thanks,
okay.
Alekha. And thanks, Sandeep.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay. And thanks everyone for joining the session. And I hope that you got one or two points that you will be able to take back from this session, right? And the crux of this is implementation, right? I mean, knowing blockchain doesn't solve the problem. Implementing blockchain and implementing solutions is what is the biggest thing. Thank you so much for your patience.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So we come to the last session now. So Grishma ma'am, hello.
Hello, I'm audible.
Yes, ma'am.
So, good evening, all. We are approaching the fag end of our 5 days FDP on blockchain. I'm sure that this is beneficial to all of us. I request participants to give feedback about our overall session. Any one of you can tell.
Hello.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello.
Huh.
Ma'am, yeah, is it possible to switch on the mic video also? Then we can see each other because we have never seen
Actually,
it.
whenever we click on, Achha, yes, yes, now.
Yeah, it's working.
Yes, hello everyone. Yeah, actually, I am Mrs. Komal Pardeshi from Walchand Institute of Technology, Solapur. And actually, I just eager to know how to write a smart contract, and means I just have a basic idea about there is something in there that in blockchain that we have to write smart contract, we have to use Ethereum, there is truffle, there is MetaMask. Means I heard a lot about that, and for that curiosity I also did a Coursera course of Beena ma'am. But still I didn't understood the whole concept. I was just means 10 to 20% it is okay for me, means I just tried to understand that concepts, but this workshop helps me to understand a lot of the things. Okay, means many concepts get cleared, how to develop a D app, that is also one of the important tasks that we did, and how to install different softwares required for executing the app, and whatever how these different softwares can be used for this blockchain technology. Means if we do more practice on this, then it will be very beneficial for us and our students for doing projects in that, and it is also helpful for us to guide our students. Okay, so I thank you, Sandeep sir, and all speakers. Means they invited speakers who are really very talented, and they helped us with all queries, and they taught very nicely. And once again I also wants to thank LBS College that they arrange such a nice workshop for faculty. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. So this is another request from me. I think all of you can switch on the video once. Then we can take a photo because
Okay,
in
okay.
all of you, please, those who can switch on the video, please switch on the videos. Then I will take a photo. I will send that in the WhatsApp.
Yes, yes.
Just a minute, sir. Just a minute.
Okay, we will wait, sir. Because in the inauguration function, we don't have any photos due to this. Let me take the photo, or should I wait? I will take.
Just 1 minute, sir.
Okay, wait.
Yes, sir. You can continue.
Shall I take? Okay, I'm going to take. Okay. Okay. Thank you. I think others can also say feedback. Because this is the first time we are conducting an AICT workshop. So many problems will be there. So your feedback will help us, because the feedback in the text or feedback in the Google form is not that useful. If you say something, then it will be useful for us. Then we can improve. Gajan sir?
Yes, sir. This is a very good organized workshop, well planned, because the blockchain technology is very emerging technology as far as our country is concerned. blockchain technology is very new technology for understanding as well as for implementation. There are a lot of use cases are there in some areas, but that are from outside India. Now India, our planning commission and our government has taken lot of keen interest in blockchain technology, and so this is very important from academics point of view, as we all are academicians. So it is very good that LBS college has organized this wonderful workshop, and lot of good eminent speakers are there from industry as well as from academics. I don't know. I have attended all the sessions, almost all the sessions thoroughly, because hands-on sessions are very good. And I am also started my research in blockchain with the application of blockchain technology. So I have taken means lot of things from this 5 days FDP. So lot of new things we have received from all the speakers, all the resource persons. Thank you, sir. Thank you, LBS College. Thank you.
Common ma'am, hello. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Just share your views.
Actually, sir, I explained just now.
Okay.
I given feedback just now.
Yeah. Sunla ma'am.
That's
Okay.
why I turn on video. Okay.
Sunla ma'am, hello.
Hello,
Hello.
Deep Chaldaya. Sir, actually, I am a person who doesn't know any. I did my MCA 20 years back. At that time, there were no concept of blockchain and all. This time, first time I come to know what is blockchain, and really I enjoyed each and every session, and especially the hands-on. It was a person like me who has stopped doing coding from the last 17 years, and I enjoyed that. That is a big part. Means I learned a lot. Now I can say that yes, I know blockchain. So this is a very good workshop, very well arranged by you and the whole team. Congrats to all of you. First time you people are doing it. It's a great workshop. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Sandeep sir,
Sir.
special thanks to you sir, because
Okay, actually,
without your regular and full cooperation, this seminar would not have taken.
okay, so actually we have a team, sir. We work together because I am the only one in the college. That's the problem. Others are online.
Yes.
And due to this corona.
I congratulate all the whole team, whole college.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. And I think we will have some cooperation in this in some sort of activities.
Sure, sir. Actually, we have another workshop on January, sir. I will share that the brochure details. If possible, you can join us, and
Definitely,
we can see it
sir.
again.
Thank you, sir.
Srijay, sir, hello. Hello, sir. Srijay, sir. Hello, sir. Okay, yeah.
It was well coordinated, and all the sessions were equally good. Actually, I am very new to the blockchain technology. I have only heard of blockchain prior to this workshop, but I learned a lot from the workshop. So I could not capture some concepts, particularly because of some technical issues. We couldn't install some of the packages to the laptop. except that it was very fine, and Sandeep coordinated the workshop brilliantly, and congratulations to the entire team for this collaboration for taking to conduct the this program. And this is the most hot topic the parent community. Thank you and congratulations. Thank you.
Okay. The question, we have an exam, so that form is been shared. You can take that and just fill that. So next thing is I will be uploading the attendance and the mark of this exam in the ACT portal. On Monday, you have to fill that. You just log into that page and fill up the feedback. You have, so after one working day, your certificate you can download from the portal itself. So that's the procedure. I think most of you know that. Okay, so we are not conducting an official validation program because a lot of people are absent today. So I would like to thank all of you, even my team. I have even though the team is small, but they work together. They are in different places. They cooperated with me, and I thank everyone, even the participants. Even though we have 141 participants, number of participants present was very less. So that's one disadvantage, because maybe due to the time, because this is not that apt time for conducting workshop. Hope that in the next workshop, maybe we are planning the next workshop on January. In that time, more participants will be available and they can participate in this. One good thing is that those who have participated, I find it useful. And from my perspective also, I find it very useful. So the resource material, they will be sharing that. So you can go through that. That folder will be always there. So you can use that. You can download that. Okay.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Sir, how much time is there for test?
I will give, we can get 30 minutes. 30 minutes is enough. It's only 10 questions
30.
are there.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. Very nice workshop. Thank you.
Grishma, hello. Hello.
Hello. So on behalf of LBS College of Engineering, I extend sincere thanks to all participants for their active participation. I would like to thank our principal, dean, all HODs for their guidance. I would like to thank our HOD, Dr. Smithamore ma'am, for the constant support. I thank the program coordinator, Professor Sandeep sir, and all the organizing team members, which include faculty, technical staff, UG, PG student, and research scholars of Computer Science and Engineering Department for the smooth conduct of the program. Thank you all. With this, we conclude our program. Thank you.